Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back to our mini-series on the women in the Quran who are mentioned in the context of Quranic stories. Now last week we thought a little bit about Eve, Hawa, and her immediate repentance upon making a mistake. And then we thought a little bit about the wife of Nuh, who, God protect us, Allah protect us from this fate, but who was damned to hell for her betrayal. And we thought about how we might be betraying the people in our own lives or in our relationships and how we might set that right. This week I want to think a little bit about the joys that Allah gives and the blessings that Allah gives to the faithful. Now this particular woman, I think you might already know who I'm talking about here, the wife of Ibrahim, Sarah alayhi salam. And I think that when we look at her story in the Quran, we see an example of a woman who had this visitation by angels. May Allah make us of the people to whom the angels visit. And the angels brought to her good news of a son. Now what does she do? She's utterly surprised. She slaps her face. She says, "With this old man?" And I think sometimes life is like that Allah brings us in moments that we least expect it, maybe the things that our heart wishes for the most. Now I want to think for a moment is, what did she do in her life to be graced with such a gift from Allah? We don't know. The Quran doesn't tell us, other than the fact that she's in the company of a blessed prophet and she's carrying forth the lineage of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, I think also from her story there's something that we can learn about the role of the mother. It does a real disservice to women to only reduce them to their roles in life, or as mother or wife. And certainly we want to honor these roles, but we also want to save a space to honor Sarah for who she was as a woman and the deeply challenging experience that it must have been to be moving from place to place and to be constantly in Allah's service as she was with her husband Ibrahim alayhi salam. So I want us to think in this week, how are we in Allah's service? And if we are really moving step by step, place to place, can we really hold in our hearts this expectation that Allah will provide us with what's innermost and our good desires, whether it's for children or whether it's for some other type of blessing. May we hold out a real hope. May we ask Allah with sincere dua for the things that are near to our heart. Now I want to think about another woman in the Quran who is also mentioned in a different set of circumstances. Now, so this woman, moving through sacred history here, we come upon Zulaikha, who is not mentioned by the name Zulaikha in the Quran, but we know this through the narrations. Now, this is a tricky woman to identify with because she does try to tempt a prophet, try to tempt Yusuf alayhi salam, but even Zulaikha, even as we see her consorting with her women friends and gossiping and really giving Yusuf a time of it, alayhi salam, we also see that when it comes down to it, when she's pushed, when she's pressed, she does admit the truth of the affair and she is honest in that moment. So maybe there are things in our lives that we've been kicking down the road, that we maybe have been procrastinating on, or maybe we haven't been giving them their full due. And perhaps in the story of Zulaikha, we see a woman who, a person who made a mistake and took a long time to figure out that mistake, but eventually she did, and eventually she did admit the wrongdoing. So let's take another moment this week to think about the places in our lives where we're maybe in need of some of that really honest soul searching to be able to admit, yes, I did something wrong, yes, this person is right, no, I'm not right all the time. I know for some people that can be a struggle. May Allah make us, again, humble people. May we really realize that these aren't just stories to entertain us, but that the value is in really contemplating these stories and tadabbar, to really go deep into them and ask Allah, what are you, Allah, saying to my heart with this particular story? How am I going to apply it to my life in this moment right now? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.